We'll return to the World Series highlights in a moment, but first to report to you, we're in the 7th inning here. There are 2 men out in the top of the 7th. The rains have caused another delay. As you see, the Pirates have a big lead of 9-4. As soon as something else happens out here, we'll be back to let you know. Now, let's watch the World Series feature again. Harry and Steve Stone were back in the ballpark. The rain has not abated at all. It's still coming down very hard. I doubt if they'll wait as long this time as they did last time. The Pirates are way ahead 9-4 with 2 out in the top of the 7th on this last delay. And somehow you don't feel too confident about the play being resumed.
Well, Harry Yoshikohara was kind enough to call up the radio booth, and he said the rules for this eventuality are posted. And it's that the first delay is 1 hour and 15 minutes. However, the first delay constitutes the first delay after the start of the game. So the 2 hours we waited before the game doesn't come into play. The second delay is then 45 minutes. This is still the first delay. We're under the 1 hour and 15 minute rule. Every delay after the second is a half hour at the discretion of the umpire. So we've got some time to wait.
In other words, we're talking now at least 1 hour and 15 minutes.
And I think this one started about 5 to 7. So we've got some time before we can kiss this one off.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll be able to report on the West Coast games. They're just supposed to get started in 2 hours from now.
Well, George Bell hit a 3-run homer. I know that. And Arnie Harris has some highlights of what's happened so far, and it's an offensive show, but mostly Pirate offense.
You know, funny thing about this ball game, let's pick up the highlights right here. There is Bobby Bonilla's home run in the left center field bleachers. You haven't seen nothing yet, folks. Wait till you see his second home run. When he hit his second home run, it went out onto Sheffield Avenue. It came with a man on, and that happened in the 3rd inning. The field is well covered, but it's still raining here. And the happy news that Steve brought in, here's Belliard with a line drive in the left center. That in itself, as Steve pointed out, should have proven that by luck he didn't have his usual stuff. The same two teams will meet tomorrow night, and it'll be Steve Wilson going for the Chicago Cubs, and a fine left-hander for the Pirates, John Smiley. So the Pirates are pretty well geared for this series, and I'd hate to see the balance of the ball club maybe upset a little bit in the hope of making a beneficial deal so far as your pitching is concerned. I think everybody conceded that what their pitching needs were, and one thing that nobody suggested before it happened was the fact that Sutcliffe would not be in the starting rotation. He, of course, has hurt the pitcher a lot. But it's better to know what your weaknesses are and even not be able to do anything about it and still keep your team at the best possible strength you can than to make some moves maybe that you take on new guys that maybe destroy your team even more.
Well, I think here you're talking about the epilogue of the 1989 New York Mets.
I think, Steve, I think you're going down to the dugout. All right, let's go to the, here's Bonilla. Now, here's a long blast with him in the, leading off the 2nd inning into the left center field bleachers. A home run. Now, here's a little Belliard, 5'6". He lines the rope and all the way to the wall in left center. And that drives in a run in the 2nd inning. On a wild pitch. A bad throw. I want to show you that second. There's the wild pitch, and the run scores here. That's 3-0, and here's Bonilla's homer with a man on. Watch where it goes. Out onto the street of Sheffield Avenue. So, here now is Mark Grace as the Cubs start coming back. A sacrifice fly hit hard in the right field. Here's Girardi. Another sacrifice fly. Another run scores after the catch, and it's 5-3. Here is Walton on an error. The fourth run scores, and now the Cubs are only a run behind. Andre now makes it 5-4, and the Cubs are only one run behind. Here are the Pirates, and that makes it 6-4. Reynolds driving the run in. And here's Slaught. He bloops one into short center for a base hit, but with runners at second and third, they both score. And so the Pirates now make it 9-4 with on this base hit, and that's where it is right now. The ball game is advanced. We're in the top half of the seventh inning. Out if they ever resume play, the Pirates are leading by the score of 9-4. 2 out in the top of the seventh. If this game is called, it's an official victory for the Pirates. The official score will be 9-4. Then the second game of the series, in any case, will be played tomorrow night, starting at 7:05, when Steve Wilson pitches for the Cubs, and John Smiley, the fine young left-hander, will go for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now we're going to go back to some of the World Series highlights we were seeing before, and then we'll switch down to Steve, who'll be down in the Cub dugout for some interviews, and we'll give you some up here too, whoever's around. So let's see some of the highlights of the World Series that you were watching before.